You are listening to the Daily News on Vihaba channels. This is our series of providing the latest updated news about all business-related aspects in international business, especially the Vietnamese market. I'm Stella, your host today. The complicated development of the COVID-19 pandemic in the past year has not hindered the export of agricultural products in many countries in Asia. In 2021 and the first 2 months of 2022, many countries recorded significant growth in agricultural exports, such as India, Japan, Cambodia, and Vietnam. India's exports of agricultural products have grown strong in the past year. For the first time, Japan's agricultural exports surpassed 1 trillion yen. In the first 2 months of 2022, Cambodia agricultural exports reached the highest 2 million tons. Vietnam's agricultural exports reached $8 billion. Here are the headlines today. The first news: India agricultural exports rose remarkably despite COVID-19. India exports of agricultural products have grown strongly in the past year. This motivation is expected to continue in the current year as well, and India agricultural exports can, for the first time, cross $50 billion in 2021 to 2022. The second news: Japan's agricultural exports surpassed 1 trillion yen. Japan's export of food and related categories shows in 2021 surpassed the target of 1 trillion yen for the first time. The third news: Cambodia's agricultural exports reached the highest 2 million tons in January and February. Cambodia is a country with investment and development in agriculture. In the first 2 months of 2022, the exports of agricultural products in Cambodia had many positive figures, promising a year of growth in agricultural exports. The last news: Vietnam's agricultural exports in the first 2 months of 2022 reached $8 billion. Although the situation of exporting to the largest market of Vietnam, China, is facing many difficulties, the total export turnover of agricultural, forestry, fishery products in the first 2 months of 2022 still reached about $8 billion, up 12.9% compared to the previous years. The first news: India's agricultural exports rose remarkably despite COVID-19. India's exports of agricultural products have grown strongly in the past year. The motivation is expected to continue in the current year as well, and India's agricultural exports can, for the first time, cross $50 billion in 2021 to 2022. India agricultural exports, after reaching $43.23 billion in 2013 to 2014, slumped to $33.68 billion in 2016 to 2017. Despite the pandemic, A conspicuous turnaround occurred in these exports, growing to $41.32 billion in 2020 to 2021. This motivation is expected to continue in the current year as well, and India's agriculture exports can, for the first time, cross $50 billion in 2021 to 2022. The government of India consistent and coordinated efforts to usher the reform aimed at boosting agricultural exports to have also paid off. The year 2020 started with unprecedented global pandemic, which led to a substantial increase in the global demand for food items. India has been able to step into India's missions abroad and interacted through virtual buyer salaries, coordinated with port, customs, state, and district authorities to meet the increased global demand. Due to these efforts, exports of principal agricultural commodities have registered an increase of 17.56% to $41.32 billion in 2020 to 2021. In 2020 to 2021, India reached its highest ever export of $4 billion of spices and its products. This led to India's emerging as a global supplier of food and other essential agricultural products. Similarly, during April 2021 to December 2021, the following commodities have shown significant increase in their export compared to the same periods of last year. Non-basmati rice with 46%, coffee with 43%, wheat with 416%, other cereals 72%, cashew 16%, sugars 61%, fruits with 28%, dairy products with 82%, and marine products with 35%. Agricultural exports in Asia are increasing, proving strength with large export volume. With the agricultural export markets in Japan, a new record had been set in 2021. The second news: Japan's agricultural exports surpassed 1 trillion yen. Japan's export of food and related categories surged in 2021, surpassing the target of 1 trillion yen for the first time. The Ministries of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries says there was a year-on-year increase of over 25%. Exports totals 1.24 trillion yen, or nearly $10.8 billion, setting a new record for the ninth year in a row. Since the harvest of many agricultural products include apples, pigs in food, exports usually increase in winter. Christmas and other events also contribute to higher exports. Ministry says there has been an increase in exports to retailers and online sale outlets, as more people eat at home during the coronavirus pandemic. demand for a wide range of foods has increased as business at restaurants picks up again in China and the US. Food exports to China alone came to over $1.9 billion. That were followed closely by Hong Kong and the US with about $1.46 billion. The Japanese government hopes to raise the values of export to 2 trillion yen by 2025 and to 5 trillion yen by 2030. It plans to encourage trade partners to drop import restrictions and will also support Japanese producers hoping to export. In the first month of 2022, many countries have achieved large numbers in agriculture exports, such as Cambodia and Vietnam. Cambodia, only in the first 2 months of the year, agriculture export output had reached the highest level. The third news, Cambodia's agriculture exports reached the highest 2 million tons in January and February. Cambodia's countries with investments and development in agriculture. In the first 2 months of 2022, the export of agricultural products in Cambodia has had many positive figures, promising a year of growth in agricultural exports. Cambodia exported nearly 2,100 million tons of agricultural products in the first 2 months of 2022, up by over 6.4% year-on-year from more than 1,900 million tons, according to Ministers of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery Vincent. The kingdom's agricultural exports from January and February were shipped to totals of 52 countries and territories, including markets in Europe, Asia, and elsewhere in Asia. Cambodia's agricultural exports over the period were driven up by an increase in both market demand and production by farmers. Given the current circumstances, some countries cannot produce, but Cambodia can. Others have higher demand for agricultural products. The main agricultural products export is rice. The country exported 103,000 tons, which is an increase of more than 26,000 tons, or 35.12% compared to the export volumes in the first 2 months of 2021. Besides, the non-rice agricultural exports amounted to 1.3 million tons, up 0.5%. The Commerce Ministries and CRF were concentrating more effort to boost the export to Asian markets, especially Asian and other countries where transportation is particularly convenient. The Vietnamese market, a market with strong positions in agriculture exports, also achieved many good achievements in agriculture exports in the first 2 months of 2022. Specifically, the whole agriculture exports industries of Vietnam achieved more than $8 billion. The last news, Vietnam's agricultural exports in the first 2 months of 2022 reached $8 billion. Although the situation of exporting to the largest market of Vietnam, China, is facing many difficulties. The total export turnover of agricultural, forestry, and fishery products in the first 2 months of 2022 still reached about 8 billion USD, up 20.9% compared to the previous year. According to Vietnam's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, in the first 2 months of 2022, the total import and export turnover of forestry fishery products is estimated at nearly $14.2 billion, up 15.8% over the same period last year. Specifically, in terms of export in February 2022, export turnover is estimated at nearly $3.3 billion USD. Accumulating 2 months, export turnover is estimated at about 8 billion USD, compared to the same periods in 2021, only about 6.3 billion USD. In Greece, the export of main agricultural products is estimated at over 3.2 billion USD. Livestock products is at 54.1 million USD. Aquatic products at nearly 1.5 billion USD. Main forest products at nearly 2.9 billion USD. Some product groups with strong increase in export value include coffee, rubber, rice, peppers, meat, pangasius, shrimp, goods and goods products, rattans. In terms of export markets, Asia and America are the two markets with the largest proportion, accounting for 70%, followed by Europe, Oceania, and Africa. The United States is the largest exporter, with a turnover of 2.3 billion USD, of which the export turnover of goods and goods products account for 69.9% of Vietnam's agricultural, forestry and fishery export turnover in this market. The second is the Chinese market, with nearly 1.3 billion USD, followed by the Japanese market, with an export value of nearly 586 million USD. The ministry said it will continue to promote the opening of agricultural markets with Peru, Australia, Brazil, Asia. At the same time, the ministry will also organize Vietnam's Agricultural Products Week at Expo 2022 in Dubai and work with a number of bilateral partners with India, Argentina, and the UAE. That it is for the Vihaba News here on Vihaba Podcast. Do stay with us because we will have many upcoming news on agriculture sector. Subscribe to our podcast channels for the latest news. Thank you.